Shanti, how are you? A mentally disabled girl was brutally raped by a group of members. How does that make you feel? How do you feel for that girl? Obviously, you will feel very sympathy for that girl, right? What if that girl happens to be a guy in its past birth who raped you when you were a girl? Now you are a guy. So now somehow you learned that this particular girl was the one who raped you in your past birth. Now, how would you feel? You will still feel sympathy for that girl because you no longer remembers what happened in your past birth. You no longer experience that pain. So you will automatically have sympathy for her. Or will you think, well, that girl deserves it. She did such bad things in my past lives. That's why God has given that punishment for that girl. Will you say like that? Okay, what if that mentally handicapped girl happens to be your own daughter in this birth? How would you feel? Now you know that she was the one who raped you, and now she is suffering so much. So now will you say that this girl deserved it, or will it make you crumble deep inside? My guess is it will break your heart on knowing that your own daughter is brutally raped, no matter what she did to you in her past life, right? How is that possible? One, it happened in the past that you no longer remember, and now you are not in that body. You are not a girl in the first place. Now you are a man. So you will only feel sorry for that girl. But the fact that it is your daughter will make you feel terrible deep inside. You don't bother about whether that girl raped you in her past life or not. Now it is your daughter. Only that comes to your mind. So you will be very angry for those who are responsible for raping her. Instead of getting happy because your enemy got severely punished for what he did to you in the past birth, now you are feeling sorry for that same enemy. Why? Because that enemy is in a different body. Moreover, you are in a different body. What happened in between? Death happened. So death makes you forget everything, and you are connected to the new relationship. You no longer bothers about your old relationships, right? So it is the death that makes you forget the old relationships. That is the reason why God asks you to die mentally, not physically, to die mentally as soon as you receive the knowledge of God. In your past birth, after you encountered such terrible incident by that rapist, obviously you would have cursed him throughout your life that he should undergo severe punishment. I should watch him dying like hell. But when that happens in front of you, you are feeling sorry for that. Not only that, when it happens to be your own daughter, that makes you more sad and even angry for the offenders who committed rape on her. But you know what? The real offender is you. It is your curse that comes into play here. So it is because of you that she is undergoing all these things. Do you know that? All our curses will definitely become true, but it will happen at the moment when that curse, when it becomes a reality, will affect you more than the actual uh, person who was cursed. Because by cursing somebody or getting angry on somebody, you are remembering him or her throughout your life. So this creates a bond. So that continues even after this birth. So that is the reason they are born to you. And when your curse becomes a reality, that's going to affect you more. When somebody is causing you pain and suffering, you will be provoked to curse them. But remember, when your curse becomes a reality, it is you who is going to affect the most. So instead of waiting for the death to forget that incident, God asks you to die right now, the moment you receive this knowledge, because you are in fact taking a new birth after receiving this knowledge. Your bodily parents and other relatives, they are no longer your parents and relatives because they were parents in your past birth. Since you have died after receiving this knowledge, now your parents and your relatives is just one God. You establish all your relationships only with one God. God gives this knowledge just 100 years before the destruction of this old world, which is now. So God enters an old man's body and gives the introduction about himself and about ourselves, about who we really are, and about our past, present, and future. So God comes from his supreme abode, which is a golden red colored light world, which is also called the soul world or Parandham or Parlok. It is with God we souls before taking birth resides in the soul world. God is also a soul just like us. The only difference between God and us is we enter this birth and death cycle that lasts for 5,000 years called a kalpa. And the first half of this kalpa was heaven, which is filled with pleasure and blissfulness and happiness. And the second half of this kalpa is filled with suffering and pain, which is why it is called hell, which is now. So God comes in the last 100 years of hell to reveal a secret to us so that we can escape the punishment for our past sins. Not only that, we can accumulate charity in our souls so that it becomes pure and divine and eligible to take birth in heaven, because after the completion of hell or the destruction of hell, the world will become heaven. It's a continuous non-stop cycle. Heaven comes after hell and hell comes after heaven, just like a day and night repeats continuously. every 5,000 year once towards the end, God comes and gives this divine knowledge and makes those who listen to his knowledge and puts his knowledge into practice eligible to enter heaven. That's the only duty of God. So God says, as soon as you receive this knowledge, you are dead mentally. You are dead to this world. Because everything you see and listen to in this world will induce you to commit more and more sins. That is why he is asking you not to see or listen to anything in the world, because you are dead to this world. Once a person dies, he leaves a body. That is what we call as death, right? According to this world. So what leaves the body? The soul leaves the body. The soul shines like a tiny star in between the eyebrows, which is why Hindus have this habit of wearing religious symbols in between the eyebrows. So now God says, you are dead and you are taking another birth. The only difference between other rebirths and this rebirth is, in other rebirths, after leaving a body, you will be taking another body. But God here says, in this rebirth, once you die, once this soul comes out of this body, it no longer takes another body, which means it is going to exist just like a soul in this world. But this is the death that happens mentally, not physically. So obviously you are going to stay in this body, but you no longer remember anything that's related to this body. Now everybody you see, they are just your brothers souls. That's it. No other relationships. Since they are also children of God, since God is your Father, so obviously all children of God or children of our Father, they are brothers. So that's the only relationship you need to establish with everybody. So how do you do that? It doesn't happen in a fraction of a second. It takes real hard work, mental work. Every single time you see others, you see only here as a soul. You must only be seeing the souls, and also you should only be considering yourselves to be the souls as well, without any body. Body sees another body, soul sees another soul. So far you have considered yourselves wrongly to be the body, so you had this habit of watching others' body. But now you are conscious that you are an imperishable soul. So obviously you will be seeing only the imperishable soul that is in the another body, and it is this soul that sees through the eyes, that speaks through the mouth, that performs actions through its body. Nonetheless, it is this soul that performs everything. So you are this soul. This is the thing that you need to practice with everybody. Practice with your parents, practice with your spouse, practice with your children, practice with your siblings, practice with your friends and relatives, practice with everybody whom you see, whom you think. If you're speaking over phone, just imagine that a star, a tiny point of light, is speaking to. You shouldn't have the feeling that a man or woman is speaking on the other edge of the phone. No, it is a point of light that is speaking. This is the kind of practice you need to make. And after the destruction of this old world, all souls must leave their bodies and go back to the soul world. So that is the original home of all these souls. So we need to remember God as a point of light in this soul world, which is golden red color in color. So we need to remember God as a star shining in the golden red colored sky. When you do that, you also consider yourself as a soul. So you need to continuously watch God as a point of light that is filled with the energy, that is filled with love, peace, and purity. So when you are watching God mentally with the characteristics of God, what happens is you are developing those divine qualities within yourself. You are filling your souls with those divine powers. It is by saying, people of this Kali Yuga, that your soul is filled with those devilish thoughts. That is the reason God asks you not to see the worldly things anymore and just to see Him, and to listen and think only about the teachings of God. To give this knowledge, God Himself comes in the end of the world and He enters an old man's body because He doesn't take birth like us. That is why He is worshipped as Lingam. So that God I'm speaking about is God Shiva. He is called Allah by Muslims and Heavenly Godfather by Christians. God is one. He comes in the end. So He gives this knowledge to purify ourselves. How do we do that? It's pretty simple. All we need to do is to stop remembering other things and remember only one God and the teachings given by God, which is called Murli, which is available absolutely free of cost in all Raj Yoga meditation centers. It is also available in YouTube and websites. I will give the link of them in the description below this video. Please make use of it, because it is only this knowledge that God directly gives towards the end of the world that makes this whole world into heaven, that makes us human beings, sinful human beings, into pure divine beings. If something or somebody who hurt you in the past still gives you more pain, if you just can't control the thought of it, it comes back again and again. What should you do? What does it actually mean in the first place? It means you're not dead fully. You're still alive in your past birth. That is the reason for the suffering. That is why God asks you to die instantly. So how do you do that? Because I'm seeing those parents daily, those enemies daily, those relatives daily. How is it possible for me to forget all of a sudden? So you are remembering them just by seeing them daily. You should understand that. Or by recollecting the past memories. Instead, if you live with God according to the directions of God, then you will have absolutely no time to spare for the old world, to spare for the old memories. Because God makes you busy with His directions. You need to wake up early in the morning, say 3 to 4 a.m. You need to spend at least first 1 hour in remembrance of God. Then you need to read Murli. Then you need to spend a whole day recollecting those Murli points. No matter what you do, your mind should be busy with this. if you are doing it sincerely, obviously you are going to forget the old world, old relations, and old happenings. And in this world, since you have become the direct child of God, obviously you are going to do what God is doing to this world. He's changing this world into heaven. So you will be helping God in achieving this same by spreading this knowledge with your friends and family members and with everybody whom you can possibly come in contact with. You can go to schools and colleges and give this introduction, and you can go to temples, you can go to churches, marriage halls, wherever people assemble. Just go there. Based on the situation, you give this knowledge either in a brief manner or in a detailed manner. It all depends on the situation and how prepared you are. This is the full-time job for you. And the other job that you go for earning, that is just a part-time job for us. Only this is a 24-hour job for us. Even at workplaces, you should be remembering God continuously. You know what that will make? It will create a positive atmosphere, pure atmosphere around you. It all happens in a subtle manner that anybody who comes in that atmosphere gets rid of all his pain and sufferings and the past thoughts, at least to some extent. It depends on how powerful atmosphere you create around you using the powerful positive thoughts and powerful remembrance of God. In the example I gave earlier, you were raped in your past birth, possibly when you were very poor. Now you have no reason to worry because you no longer possess that body. You're no longer a woman and you are no longer poor. Now you are very rich. So you have absolutely no reason to hate him anymore. Likewise, people may have hurt you in the past, may have caused you enormous pain, enormous suffering. But still, you need to remember that past birth is nothing compared to the birth that you have taken now. In your previous birth, you were just a child of a perishable human being. Now you are the divine child of the imperishable God Himself. You are God's son. Not only that, the moment you become the Son of God after taking this direct knowledge from God, you have the right to rule the entire world after the world gets pure in heaven. So you have the power to rule heaven. Though you don't see it now, though you don't have it now, you are becoming eligible for that by purifying yourselves through remembrance of God. You should have that happiness in you. See, a child born to a rich man still doesn't have any power over the property unless it reaches the age of major, maybe 18 years old. But still, that child will be happy, that will have this happiness that he feels already that he is the owner of the entire property. But that may or may not happen because who knows if that child is going to survive till 18 or not. And who knows if somebody is going to snatch that property away by some ill means, which is quite possible in this Kali Yuga. But here it is given directly by God. So you're going to enjoy heaven for the next 2500 years, where there is absolutely no sign of any kind of suffering or pain. All you see and listen is going to give nothing but happiness. You're going to rule such a happy filled world, heaven itself. So, how much happiness you should have in just remembering that. It is by not remembering that you feel ordinary. You feel sad because of the past events. Because you don't keep your mind busy with your thoughts about heaven, thoughts about whose child you have become. You should keep your mind, because this is the most happiest thing in the world. This is the most happiest thing that can possibly happen to anybody. And you are the luckiest, because millions of people out there do not even know God has arrived. They know nothing about this knowledge. But they are traveling great many distances by foot on the path of devotion, but they are not going to achieve anything out of that. But here we have received the direct knowledge from God, by which we are going to become the rulers of the world. We are going to become Sri Narayan, Sri Lakshmi. Could there be anything more happier than this? Maybe it's possible that if some of your close relatives have cheated you, have taken your property and leave you in the street, it's okay. But still, that property is nothing compared to the property now you possess. Now you have the right to rule the world. So it's actually immaterial to think about that property, which can be grabbed from them by somebody else as well, because this Kali Yuga is filled with cheaters. So if you don't possess anything, you are the luckiest person, because you have nothing to lose. And God says, you don't even have the body, then how come you have the property or any relationships? Even if somebody dies, it shouldn't hurt you. If it hurts, it obviously means you haven't died enough. If you have died enough, if your only relation is just God, then no matter what happens in this world, it will lack the strength to make you feel hurt. Moreover, whatever bad thing happens in your life is just a result of your past karma. So obviously they have come to get the penalty for your past actions. They don't come as an enemy, they will come as a child, they will come as a sibling. That's why we have to endure much pain through these close relatives. It is only when you love the most cheats on you that you get hurt the most. That is the reason God asks you to get rid of all relationships and establish only all relationships with one God, so that you no longer get hurt. Obviously, God is not going to cheat on you. He is here just to give you everything. So after taking this knowledge, you should be able to know the past, present and future of not only your actions, but also of the actions of others. If somebody cheats on you, obviously he got affected in his past birth by you. That is why he is doing that. So he is just an instrument to give punishment for your past karma. So why should we get angry on the instrument? Because it is our sin that we are getting punished for. And after dying completely, we are no longer attached to anything in this world. So no matter if somebody cheats on us, or takes anything away from us, you still didn't get hurt by anything, because you have already detached yourself from everything mentally. So no matter what happens around you, it's not going to affect you. So if you remember your past karma that is giving you this pain, and also the result of the present karma by that particular person who is hurting you, in his future birth he is obviously going to come close to you and suffer right in front of you. So that's going to hurt you even more. If you are able to see these three times, past, present and future, then you will have the strength not to curse them back. Because if you curse them, obviously you are going to be affected more than himself. But still, I'm not able to forget the hurt he caused to me. That's the real problem. Well, you haven't died enough. That's the real solution. By dedicating maximum amount of time in remembering God and thinking about these knowledge points, which is called Murli, the knowledge which is given directly by God is available in all Raj Yoga meditation centers, absolutely free of cost. And also it is available in YouTube videos and websites. I will give the links of them in the description below this video. Please make use of it. So the more amount of time you dedicate in churning this knowledge of God, these Murli points, your mind becomes very strong to the extent that you will no longer feel the hurt out of any past actions. It is because your soul has become weak that you are no longer able to tolerate these sufferings and cheatings. But once your soul becomes filled with power through the remembrance of God, you will no longer find it a problem at all. Instead of cursing the ones who hurt you now and repent later in your next birth, why can't you repent right now? Because you know the outcome of his actions. Obviously, he needs to pay for his karma in his next birth. You repent for him now. Just like Jesus did in the cross. He actually repented for the ones who hurt him at the time of death. He asked God to forgive them, because they don't know what they are doing. Likewise, the person who is hurting you doesn't know what they are doing, doesn't know the outcomes of their doings. Nobody can escape the law of karma, but you know that. So instead of being in the present, why can't you go into the future and repent for them right now? That's what Jesus Christ did. But you are greater than him because you are receiving the knowledge directly from God. So think about your responsibility and imbibe this knowledge by constantly reading Murli and churning over it. So gradually you will see your attitude becomes very stronger, so that you are able to face any difficult situations in the world without losing your peacefulness and blissfulness. Om Shanti. Thanks for watching this video. If you like this video, please hit on the thumbs up button and leave your valuable comments in the comment section. Please share this video with your friends and relatives, because everybody is undergoing through the same problem. So why can't we help them out by just sharing this video? And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do subscribe and hit on the notification bell and hit on the all so that you will be receiving the notification of all our upcoming videos. Thanks again for watching. Om Shanti. And moreover, it is the thought that the teacher is your own brother or own child or own parent that hurts you more. That's the outcome of body consciousness, which is why God asks you to get rid of body consciousness and become soul conscious. By becoming soul conscious, you are obviously going to see them as a soul. You don't remember anything associated with the body. All you know about is soul. You know the life cycle of soul. So all souls will be pure in the beginning when they first took birth in earth. So it is gradually they start committing sins and they become corrupt to the point they no longer feel bad in hurting others. So they have become so corrupt. So we should be having compassion for them, not hatredness for them, right? Om Shanti. Thanks for watching.